And welcome back to our check-in for today. We are 53 hours into the fast. And this is a beautiful point in the journey. You are beyond the noise that came early in the hunger, came early in the fast. The body is shifting gears into deep fat burning. And now you have the space to notice what's going on the inside. Earlier this week, we talked about the environmental domain, that is the environmental health, the air we breathe, the clutter around us, the scenes we're exposed to, the screens, the toxins, all those things that are around us. But today, I want to take some time to spend some time and turn the lens inward. Because here's the truth, your inner environment is just as important, just as powerful, if not more powerful, in shaping your health, your metabolism, and your ability to sustain the fast. That's right. So tonight, we're going to explore what I call the internal detox. Not just a physical process, but an emotional and a mental one as well. Hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E if you're new to me. The E stands for endocrinology. Here, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. We're creating that life that we've always wanted. We're living a limitless life. And limitless living says that we are not allowing anything around us, anything inside of us, no person, no situation, no relationship, no memory, to prevent us from doing what we need to do for our health. We are presenting our best selves, our best health, and our best plans for our life. We are going to that next level. And we're talking to adults with type 2 diabetes who want to reverse their diabetes, who want to improve their health, become metabolically realigned and homeostatic. That's right, that's the word. If you're new, go ahead and put new in the comments because we'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and some music. And let you know that we are happy that you're here. If you are new and you have a question, or even if you're not new and have a question, go ahead and put that in the comments. Make sure you put a Q in front of us so that we can get to that as we move throughout our show tonight. And you know how we do. I've got standing right next to me here my meters, and I've got my Dexcom Clarity Report, which we'll take a look at here in just a minute and see what's been going on with my blood sugars as we've been moving through the fast. So let me go ahead and pull that up. So you see I've got my meters off to the side, and then right below me is my Dexcom Clarity Report, so we can see what's been happening over the last several days. I do see some of our community members out there. And so we're going to hop over and say hello to them in just a minute. But let's go ahead and let's talk about what we are doing, why we are here, why we are in this space. So we are working on our metabolism. That is the platform for the chronic diseases that we see around the country and around the world. There are over 1 billion people on the planet at this very moment that have diabetes, type 2, or pre-diabetes. And our goal is to do the best that we can for ourselves and those around us so that we can begin reversing that disease, diabetes. Now, if we think about diabetes along the spectrum, though, are all of those disease processes that we hear about when we talk about chronic disease. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, fatty liver, polycystic ovarian syndrome, and on and on and on. So if we can do something to manage our diabetes, to reverse our diabetes, then it expands to all the other diseases. Isn't that amazing? And all this time, we have thought that they were all separate, but they are just diseases along the spectrum. And so our goal is to work to improve that, to get you off of medications, to help you with your weight, to help you with your blood sugars, with your blood pressure, with your cholesterol, and on and on and on. And that's the space that you find us in right now. On a weekly basis, we do our show on Monday, which is a walkthrough. It is a path called Limitless Living that is showing us the things that we need to do to be successful in this journey. And then on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and you caught us today on a Thursday, we are doing a show where we're talking about the tools that we are learning and how do we apply those to be able to do the things that we talk about on the journey. And one of the most powerful tools that we're using is the tool of fasting. And so on a weekly basis, we do a 72-hour fast here on the show, and we come on and we are checking in so that you can see in real time what's happening to my blood sugars, what's happening to my numbers, and what's happening to my weight, for that matter, as we move through this pathway, so that you can see that we can all do it together. And that is so exciting to me. So we are doing the fasting. The other component of this is the physical activity that we are doing. So if you've not already done so, if you've not joined us yet on our walk, so every morning at 6 o'clock, we are doing our 100-day walk to consistency, and we're on day number 93 today, right, of the 100 days. And we are continuing through that process, but we're not stopping there, because we have our new series that's coming up starting here in just a little week or so as we end this current series. And we are talking about strength, strategy, and mindset. What do we need to do to continue putting ourselves in the best position to improve our health? So once again, if you've not been over to the channel yet, we've got our 100-day walk to consistency that's there. Even if you are joining us now for the first time, it is not too late. You can join, you can go back, and you can start from day one. I'm going to tell you, a lot of people were there. They say, man, Dave, we're going to do 100 days? That's right, 100 days. And here we are, 93 days later. And if you've been consistent, you have learned, you've expanded, you have grown, and we are doing all the things that are possible to help us in our metabolism. So the fasting is addressing the pillars of diabetes. Remember, decreasing insulin, suppressing the appetite, and reducing sugar. Those are 3 pillars. The activity that we're doing, the walking, the exercising, whether you're doing rowing or swimming, or whether you're doing lifting, right? You're doing some strength training. That is also decreasing insulin, suppressing appetite, and it also is reducing sugar. So notice the theme, that all of those tools are doing that. And then also our balanced bites. Remember, whole foods, minimize processing, no added sugar, lean protein, healthy fats, starchy, non-starchy vegetables, appropriate portion size, and something that's tasty. That is the list of things that we're looking for when we're looking at the food. So this space is rounding out all of those things together so that we can be successful in our metabolism, getting our metabolism right. Because remember, dysfunctional metabolism is what is causing our problem. All right, so that gives you a backdrop of where we are. I'm glad that you're here, whatever platform you find yourselves on, with LinkedIn, Twitch, Instagram, of course, YouTube, and then on Facebook as well. So welcome to all of you that are out there watching us right now. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at blood sugars. We want to take a look at some of the numbers. Let's get that out of the way. And you'll see, let's grab this on the screen. That is what my blood sugar is currently. I'm looking at this number right here, the little squiggly number right about there. You'll see right there, there's a break. That's when my sensor went out, and so I had to change the sensor. And you'll see in the earlier part of the day, we were below the line, we were red. And then at the end of the day, right about 90 is what we are right now. Let's go ahead and we're going to pop over and take a look at my Dexcom. And on the Dexcom, we actually can do, I can put my finger and you can actually see the numbers, what's been going on over the course of today. And you see we've been kind of hanging out in the 70s, 80s, 70s, 80s, 70s, 80s. I think we dipped below 60 there a little bit in the late afternoon. And then now 80s, we're 83 right now. So that's beautiful. I love that. Okay. Then let's hop over and let's take a look at, let me pull this one up first. Let me grab, what I want to take a look at is my fit index, so we can take a look at what my weight's been doing. Let's go back there. And so you see there 185. I think when we did it yesterday, I was right at 187. We'll pull that up in a minute. Actually, why don't I do that now so we can get the exact number. 186, I think. Yeah, I think I said 187, but well, yeah. So let's do that. 186. I took a picture of that. Here we are. Here we go. So 186 is what we were, and that was yesterday. Yesterday, 186, and then of course where we are right now, 185.2. So 1 pound, right? So 1 pound over the course of the last day. And so we are working not just for diabetes, right? So we're working on that. We're not just working for blood pressure. We're working on that. We're not just working for fatty liver and cholesterol, but we're also working on weight loss. So remember last night we talked about fat burning, and that's what you're seeing there as we're moving through the fasting space. Awesome. All right. So let's go ahead. So that's my number. Let's take a look at blood sugars. And so for that, we're going to turn over here and let's see, let's get this thing. Yeah, there we go. For that, we're going to turn it over to my monitors, and I've got a Keto Mojo and I have the Contour right here. So let's go ahead and grab some strips. Brown for blood sugar, blue for ketones, and then let's grab a strip for the Contour. And oh, look at this, y'all. I am down to the, look at that. I'm down to the Lancet I don't like. Well, let's see what that shows. If anything, I'll have to get off screen for a minute and grab one of the other ones. So the reason I don't like this one is because it doesn't allow me to do the pressure that I need, because my fingers have gotten a bit calloused. And so I need a little bit more pressure to get down where I can get some blood. I get a drop of blood. But we'll see what this one does. And I think to just be safe, I'm going to use a different finger than I normally use. But let's go ahead and open up these strips. We're going to get that one there. Open up this one. And let's go ahead and put that in. And this is these are the blood sugar strips. So let's go ahead. I'm going to use a different finger because I think if I use this one, it won't get anything because it's very calloused and harder than the other, the skin. So let's see what we got here. Okay. All right. So you heard the click. Oh, well, look at that. That was a pretty brisk flow. So see, that's what happens when you get one of those fingers that is not as used as the other. So 68 is what the Keto Mojo says, and 74 is what the Contour says. Let's go ahead and let's get the test strip in for ketones, and let's see what that one shows. And look at that, I didn't even have to do any more coaxing for that to come through. And actually, let's just go ahead and let's take a look at what that is right now. Let's get that back on. Okay, look at that. 1.7 is where it says I am. And I am a little over 53 hours now in the fast. When we did our show yesterday, by the way, I said I was at 29 hours, but I was actually at 33 hours. And so I miscalculated what that was. So right now 1.7. We'll come back and we'll talk about that. Somebody remind me if I don't come back to talk about ketones. Somebody remind me to do that so we can discuss that a little later. Okay, so just somebody out there, just keep me honest there. All right, so let's hop over and let's say hello to some of our community members. And I see some folks that are out there. Let's see who we've got. So it looks like Gian is out there. Hey, Gian, she says, hi, doctor. Hey, welcome. Thank you for being with us. And Gian is saying, hi, Limitless Living Group, LLG. Cornelia, hi, Dr. Gian and LLG. I love it, love it, love it. Quick, say hello, you all. I will come again from Buddha class. Sorry, doctor, who is in amazing 53-hour fast. Yeah, so Gian, she has a class that she's going to run to and then come back and join us. Cornelia, I will come again. Okay, Gian. Enjoy your class. Cess, what's up, girl? I haven't seen you in a minute, so hello. Let's give her a hand clap and some music. And then, of course, Steve is saying hello, 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 ladies. Thank you for coming through and hanging out with us. Let's go ahead and do my check-in about the fast. And so whenever we're doing any evaluation, whenever we're doing anything that we want to implement a change, it's very important to make sure that you are evaluating to make sure that the benefits that you expect are what you're seeing. And so there are three areas where people tend to have difficulty when it comes to fasting, and it is how they feel physically, how they feel mentally, and how they feel emotionally. And so I want to spend some time talking through that. Physically, it is a matter of energy. And so people will say that they feel as though their energy is low, they feel as though they are sluggish, they hit a wall, they're going through the day, and all of a sudden everything kind of shuts down. So those are kind of the phrases that they use. Also, other than energy, how they feel like though their heart's racing, skipping a beat, they feel lightheaded, dizzy, sweaty. All of those are things that people will talk about. Right now, I am not feeling any of those. I have been doing a good job of resting, and a lot of the energy things that people feel has to do with rest. It has to do with how they prepared to get into the fast, or even in the fast, if there are issues going on, if they are highly stressed, if they are not doing a good job of resting during the fast, then that can cause fatigue as well. The other symptoms, lightheadedness, dizziness, feeling like your heart's racing, often will come from hydration. If they're not doing a good job of hydrating, then that will show up as those symptoms. So because I've been doing a good job of resting, because I've been doing a good job of hydrating, I am not currently feeling those symptoms, and actually feeling pretty energetic. When it comes to our mental health and how we feel mentally during a fast, the phrases that people will use here, or the things that they would say, is I feel as though I'm in a fog. My thoughts are not clear. They're jumbled. I feel fuzzy-headed. Those are things that often will come based on how they are feeling physically. Because as you know, if you're not rested, if you're tired, if you're fatigued, then your thought process is not as clear. Your response time is lower, and you tend to have a little bit more difficulty getting things done, or thinking, even sometimes grasping for words. Right now, actually feeling pretty good, once again, because I have been doing a good job of resting and hydrating. And then emotionally, I'm excited because I've got some fun stuff that's getting ready to happen over the next couple of days. I've been in this space with you talking about the environment, talking about our health, talking about reversing diabetes. My weight's going down, blood sugars are improved. So I am actually feeling elated right now. One of the benefits of fasting, by the way, is some of the feelings that you hear me saying. That I am right now, because I'm at the 53, getting ready to be 54 hour mark, I'm well into ketosis, as you saw from my monitor. Well into ketosis. I see the blood sugars that are fluctuating, right? Because they were below 100, and then they popped up above 100. They were below 70 as we went through the fast, and popped up a little bit above 70. And people will ask all the time, well, why is that happening? Why is your blood sugar not continuing to go down? Well, remember, as the body burns fat, it also has the ability from that fat to create sugar, right? That glycerol part of the triglycerides that we talk about, that can be turned readily into sugar. And so my body is burning fat because, right, so blood sugars have gone down. And so that tells me that my glycogen is going away. When it becomes low, that says, hey, my glycogen is pretty much gone. And we talked about that last night when we did our 29, 33-hour check-in. So that's beyond, we are beyond that point now. And so as I see those blood sugars starting to climb a little bit and just play right around that 70 mark, I'm excited because that means that now I'm accessing fat. Right? So yesterday we talked about how to trust that the process is happening, even though we may not see some of those results. Well, one of the things that I do is I monitor, and so I can see those changes in my body. So anyway, so that's our check-in, physically, mentally, and emotionally feeling pretty good. Let's hop into our conversation, but before I do that, I do see a comment that I want to get to. And so Steve was saying hello, Cornelia was saying hi, and Seth says, hemoglobin A1C 7. I'm trying my best, Dr. Woode. You are an inspiration. Well, thank you for saying that. Give you some music. Really appreciate that. So for everyone, and that's I'm gonna just pick on that comment right there. That is the virtue, that is the benefit, that is the power of community. That we all get in this space in real time to talk to each other and share where we are, share our journey, what challenges we may be having, to have someone come along and say, man, you are an inspiration to me. Now, one of the things, and Cornelia, I'm gonna pick on you for a minute. And one of the things that Cornelia sent to us in one of the comments, and thank you for saying that, she reiterated one of the things that we were talking about in one of the episodes of the 100-Day Walk to Consistency. And that is this, that your journey, as flawed as it is, as imperfect as it is, as rocky as it is, your journey through limitless living is exactly the answer for somebody else's question. Come on, y'all. That's the power of community. So thank you for dropping that in the comment, Sess. And we applaud you for trying. We are changing our word, though, from trying to doing. Remember, we are the people who are controlling our A1C. We are the people who are taking charge of our lives. We are the people who are doing the things exactly like you want to do. And I'm very proud of you for the journey that you are on and the fact that you are here with us. All right, so let's go ahead, let's hop over and, well, not hop over, let's talk. Let's start our conversation about our topic tonight. And we are talking about, let me do one thing here really quickly. Awesome. All right. So what we're talking about is, and you guys saw the flyer. We're talking about your inner environment, detoxing your thoughts, detoxing the toxins from inside, and detoxing the triggers. So here at 53 Hours, we are well into the depth of fasting. We're well into all the things that we talk about and as the benefits of fasting. So the fat burning, the insulin sensitivity, the improvement in our insulin, so lowering our insulin, the issues that we have with our metabolism are being reversed as we're going through the process. So now, beyond that, beyond the noise, beyond the things that we talked about when we talked about the environment, what is going on in our journey, and where are those places where we can continue to be successful, right? So you're beyond the noise now. You're beyond the hunger. You're beyond the shifts in the body's ability to go from carbohydrates to burning fat. And now, this space that you're in, you begin to notice some things. As I mentioned before, that when we are fasting, what's happening is that the fasting is stripping away from us those buffering behaviors, those hang-ups, those crutches that we've been using. When you're fasting, and the reason I say that is many of us use food as the crutch, you use food as the buffering behavior. So when we're fasting, we no longer have that. And so it begins to expose those places where we've got to pay attention. Now, earlier this week, we talked about the environment. right? We talked about those typical things, your air, the air we breathe, the clutter around us. We talked about our exposure to certain toxins in our environment. But fasting is very important because fasting is a detox. It's a detox, but it's not just physical. When we fast, we are essentially working, y'all, without a net. And when we are working without the net, we get to see not just the physical things that are happening, not just the fact that my weight's going down, not just the fact that my blood sugar is improving and my A1C is improving, but we get to see the things that actually push our buttons that we normally don't notice, because as soon as our button's pushed, we grab a chocolate bar. As soon as we become stressed, we eat a piece of chicken. As soon as something disrupts our routine, we go to food to soothe us, to comfort us. So fasting is an inner detox, not just the physical process, but it's an emotional and a mental one as well. So understanding your inner environment, let's understand our inner environment. Just like our homes can become cluttered, so our minds become cluttered as well. Think of your internal environment as the atmosphere inside you, right? So you think of yourself walking around inside your body. Your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions, and even your inner dialogue are the things that you run into as you're moving around that environment. And often that environment is cluttered. When you're fasting, especially at this stage, 53 hours, a lot of that internal clutter comes to the surface. This is the moment when clarity begins, because we've talked about the fact that your body's burning fat and is producing beta hydroxybutyrate, which is the thing that the brain loves because it helps us to be clear. So not just physiologically, but psychologically as well. That begins to happen here. So what thoughts have been rising up during the fast? During this fast? What emotional clutter is coming forward? What are the things that we're seeing? And as you're moving through the fast, a lot of us, right, those first several hours, in the first 24 hours, right, we're feeling that hunger. We're feeling the shift between carbohydrates and fat. We felt that already. It's gone. It's behind us. And now the body is filling us full of those proteins, or not protein, but that fat that is being broken down and converted to energy. So what are the hidden toxins that we carry? What are the hidden toxins that we carry in our body? Well, emotional toxins are some of them. So we have self-doubt, right? Am I good enough for whatever space I'm in? Remember the things that are pushing us: habits, emotions, access, and taste, right? The heat model. Am I good enough to be here? Should I be here? Am I qualified? Man, I should have started that business. Man, I can't start that business. I can't write the book. I can't lose weight. I can't get a good A1C. I can't improve my blood sugar. Man, I've tried that before. It didn't work for me. Nothing ever works out for me. Those emotional toxins. How about guilt? Man, if I didn't do that, if I didn't make those decisions years ago, I wouldn't have had that heart attack. I wouldn't have had that stroke. Man, look at what's happened to my joints. Look at how my health has deteriorated. We feel guilt, we feel shame. Because a lot of our society, a lot of our community has convinced us that it's all your fault. If you were strong enough, if you had internal fortitude, if you just had enough self-discipline, self-control, then you wouldn't be in that state that you're in. All of that's going on. Not to mention the things that we have brought with us from the past. that may have nothing to do with our food, but we're using food to soothe those. The memory, that trauma that we've had, right? The desertion that we felt, the shame, the berating, all of those things that come with us that we don't sometimes deal with. How about cognitive toxins? Cognitive toxins. So limiting beliefs like I'll never succeed. This always fails. I never complete anything. I keep trying these weight management programs. I keep going on these diets. I'm going to be like this forever. I can't reverse my diabetes. I can't get off of these medications. I can't exercise. Yeah. So fasting acts like a filter, and it removes those layers that keeps us from noticing how much toxicity we carry around inside. So fasting wipes it away. At 53 hours, your body is doing the physical detox. But now's the time to ask, what needs to detox from my thoughts? Not just my liver, not just the fat cells, not just the insulin, but what do I need to detox from on the inside? Because sometimes we don't go there. So we always want to be taking time, just like we're talking about physical, mental, emotional, right? Those domains, as we're walking through that mini series right now, we want to take time. We want to take one limiting belief at a time that you have been talking about, one negative thought that we have. We want to take those and we want to face those so we can begin cleaning out, just like we're cleaning our environment here. We want to begin cleaning out in here because it affects how we are able to fast. I was saying to one of our medical students just today that it does not matter how much of those GLP medications I put you on, right? And they are phenomenal medications. As a matter of fact, we have people, here's an interesting thing. Here's an interesting point. Never in my history of managing metabolic disease, of treating people with medication for metabolic disease, of treating people with medication for weight, because we were treating weight for a long time, have I had people come to me and say, you know what, doc, I've lost enough weight. Can you take me off of this medication? And finally, we're there. We have people coming into the office and say, hey, can you take me off of Metformin, of Ozempic? Can you take me off of Mounjaro? Because I've lost too much weight. Can we decrease the dose? So these are phenomenal medications that are working. But it doesn't matter how much medication I put you on. If we don't deal with the internal things that are causing the issue in the first place, then our emotions will blow right through the medication. And so just as we are talking about fasting, just as we are talking about the tools that we're using in this space, we've got to begin dealing with the internal toxins. So why do we get discouraged? Why do we get discouraged? And we talked a little bit about this in our last episode, but within us, there are two sets of thoughts, and I call them the inner coach and the inner critic. The inner coach and the inner critic. And the inner critic is constantly there to remind us of the places where we've fallen down, the places that we haven't succeeded, the places where we didn't quite make it, the places where we started something but we didn't get to the end, the times when we kept saying that we were going to do something but we didn't do it. That's what the inner critic does. And so we've become so attuned to listening to the inner critic that we continually are feeding ourselves a set of negative thoughts that continue to discourage us, whatever the thought may be. And there are lots of things that we could think. We often assume that progress should be linear. But let me show you. Let me show you. Let's go back and let's take a look at, and here is my weight. Here's my weight. Let's go back and let's take a look at weight. And one of the things that I want you to understand is that it is not a linear process. It is not a linear process. There are ups and there are downs. And so here is my weight over the last, well, we'll say years, right? So we're going to go back all the way. This is now going back 5 years. Going back 5 years. And let's find in this graph, the highest point on this that I've been tracking in this app is 260 pounds. Prior to that, and that's not recorded here, right? Over here somewhere, it was 287. 287. And I want you to see the trajectory. I want you to see the trend, right? So weight going up, hit 260 pounds. And then we went down, look at that. Went down here, went back up, went down, went up, went down, went up. Okay? And what I want you to notice is that despite the fact that there were those ups and downs, the general trend was in going downward. And so sometimes we miss that. So if you compare 260 back 5 years ago, and now, what was it? I don't know, 187, 186, I think. Yeah, 185. Right? The general trend is downward. But if I had looked at that 5 years ago, 4 years ago, I could have become discouraged because I didn't see that trend going in the direction I want. But I want to convince you again, just like we said in our previous show, that even though you may not see big changes, it is happening. Your body is doing it. Yes? Okay, so also why we get discouraged. We get discouraged because our mindset shifts are cyclical. So we have something that happens and we get inspired, we get motivated, and then motivation wanes. So motivation, I love motivation. I love the fact that people get pumped up. As a matter of fact, some of you, after you watch this show, while you're watching this show, you're in there. You're like, man, let's do this. And something is going to happen. And the motivation is going to wane. And we're going to get discouraged. So I want you to say, yes, I'm motivated. Yes, I'm inspired. But there is something else that you've got to do. You've got to put something in place, some structure that helps you to keep going when motivation goes away. So discouragement usually sets in when the scale doesn't move fast enough. Yep. Raise my hand. Discouragement sets in when we feel tired and irritable, when we're fasting. I've had somebody in my team tell me, hey, are you okay? As a matter of fact, I was asking, somebody asked me, said, do you feel irritable when you're fasting? And I said to them, because I expected what the answer was going to be. I said, do you think I get irritable when I'm fasting? And they say, yeah, sometimes. We compare ourselves to other people. Man, look at Cornelia. Look at Sess. Look at Steve. Look at Gian. They're having such good success. Why can't I have that success? We compare ourselves. We compare ourselves to social media. Because I'm going to tell you, when I look at some people on social media, I'm like, man, how much time do I have to spend in the gym to look like that? But at 53 hours in, this is proof that your body works. Because you're still here. I'm still here. You've seen the blood sugars. Discouragement in this stage is not a signal to quit. It is a sign. It is a sign to go deeper. You're not behind. You are in process. You are in the process of doing what you need to do. Healing doesn't always feel like victory. It often feels like, sometimes it feels almost like we're surrendering, right? Because it's not quite going the way we want. We didn't quite see all the changes. As I said before, I encourage everyone who's watching me, if you're working on your weight, if you're working on your metabolism, get some devices like I do and track what's going on in your body. Get a scale. I know we don't like to get on the scale. Everybody's like, that number depresses me. I hear that all the time. But it is a way for you to track. The number on that scale does not define who you are. And so how do we detox some triggers? So triggers are like allergens that are in your internal environment. Small things that cause big reactions. Somebody says something to you and you respond in such a forceful way that's out of proportion to what just happened. That is a trigger. Something happens in your environment and you are sitting now down at night eating a gallon of ice cream, eating a dozen donuts, buying 18 Cadbury chocolate bars. That's a trigger. So fasting allows you to observe without reacting. Because you can't eat. You may notice that you're less reactive. Or you may be more irritable. Either way, it's a feedback. Like, man, look at that. Every time that happens, I didn't realize every time that happens, I was feeling like I wanted to go eat something. But now you see it. Or something happens and you're like, man, I didn't react to that like I normally would react. Emotional triggers can include stressful conversations. They can include the urge to snack after conflict. Tiredness leading to sugar cravings. Boredom, procrastination. What are your top 3 emotional triggers? They usually come in 4 different areas: habits, emotions, access, and taste. Which are yours? And then let's talk a little bit about some air purifiers. Air purifiers are those things that clean the air around us. So what are some of the things that purify the air within us? Stillness. Somebody asked me today, where's my happy place? And I've shared with you before, my happy place is St. Simon's Island, off the coast of Georgia, right between Georgia and Florida. We went there years ago. And whenever I need to get away in my mind, whenever I need to get away from the situation, even while I'm sometimes in the situation, in my head, I'm over there. Because it's my quiet place. It's my still place. Some people use prayer, journaling, deep breathing, mindfulness. Air purifiers, they are cleaning, they are detoxing, they're cleaning the inner environment. Fasting gives you an open window to let the toxin air come out. Because usually we are so quick to grab things that buffer food that we never allow our brain, our mind, and we never allow our hearts to see and feel those emotions. Because as soon as they come, we grab something and it soothes it. As soon as it comes, we go eat something and it says it calms us. As soon as we feel like it's coming up, like, oh, I don't like that. So we never allow it to bubble up. We never allow ourselves to confront it. We never allow ourselves to deal with it. So at 53 hours, at this point, you're not just surviving the fast. You're learning how to live, how to clean out the inside, how to be cleaner mentally, physically, emotionally at 53 hours. What practices do you have in place that helps to clean your insides? What are some of your air purifiers? Is it writing, walking, praying? What have you been doing? What can you do to clean out the air on the inside? Because once again, it doesn't matter what we give you in terms of medication. If we are not cleaning out the toxins, if we're not dealing with our inner environment, then we are at a loss. So how do we reclaim our internal space? This part of the fast is about reclaiming that space in your body. This used to be occupied by fear. It used to be occupied by food, with obsessions, with emotional eating. And so we clear this out. We reclaim it by reframing. Instead of thinking, I can't eat, we begin thinking, I'm creating space. I'm cleaning the space. This is the invitation of the 53-hour fast. This is the invitation of the fast itself, to detox, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally, and to begin trusting your whole self again. Right? So see how that all comes back together? That harkens back to our episode where we talked about trusting your body. Harken back to our episode where we talked about the fact that you should trust the process. At 53 hours, your body is telling you right now, look at me. I'm here. Many people didn't think they could fast for 53 hours. They didn't think they can fast for 24 hours. Whatever the number of hours you're at, your body's sending you a signal that says, look, we're still here. What part of your inner environment do you need to clean the most? Where do you have to spend attention? Where do you have to spend time? Without any judgment. There's no judgment. It is simply taking an honest look and saying, what are those things that are going on inside that I need to look at? The limitless living inventory is a way of looking at all of that. It provides awareness. And you've heard me say several times over the last several shows, you are not broken. You are sufficient, just like you are, as imperfect as you are, as confused as you may be. Just like you are sufficient. Right now, you're rebuilding. You are reorganizing. You are becoming resilient. You're becoming consistent. You're becoming self-confident. And tonight at 53 hours into this fast, that's proof that healing is happening on the inside and on the outside. So we trust that the process is going on. And just like we're cleaning our external environment, just like we are dealing with our external health, as we're dealing with our environmental health, just like we're dealing with the outside, we're also having to deal with the inside. Because limitless living says that we're not allowing anything from outside of us, our environment out here, or anything from inside of us to prevent us from doing what we need to do to be successful with our disease, with our diabetes, with our health. What have you learned about your inner environment during your fast? Go ahead and drop those in the comments. Join our community. Be a part of this space where we get to support each other as we move forward in the limitless living pathway, and we are setting ourselves up for metabolic success. All right, all right. I love it. I love it. And I'm gonna say what I say. I think it's a thing now on my fasting or my walking show that I love this conversation, and I keep saying that all of them are my favorite, but this is one of my favorite conversations because this really is the crux of the push in fasting. This is what gives fasting its energy. Most of fasting has nothing to do with the physical aspect of our lives. A lot of it has to do with what's going on up here. All right, so let's go ahead and let's say hello to community and see what's going on. Let's see, where were we? So Cornelia was saying, says, okay, we talked about A1C. Thank you for putting that once again. And Gianna is saying, I'm back. I'm very happy, doctor. The live, I can recast. All right, thank you. And then Limitless Living Gang is sufficient and doctor is super sufficient. Well, thank you for saying that. Yes, you are sufficient. You are sufficient. You are not broken. You are right now rebuilding, and you are reorganizing, and you are rebalancing. Awesome. All right, so all that we do, y'all, is based on our Triple E formula. Oh, let me do one thing before I do that. We said that we were going to take a look at my monitor. So let's go ahead and do that. Here's my Dexcom Clarity Report. Actually, let's do this one. We haven't done this scene in a while. Okay, here's my Dexcom Clarity Report. And you'll see there that my average blood sugar is 104. I'm in target 96% of the time. And my target is 70 to 180 right there. My glucose management indicator is 5.8. So if I were to get an A1C, it would approximate 5.8. So I can't call it an A1C because it's a calculated number, but I would expect that my blood sugar or my A1C would be around that. If I go back, and this is a 14-day, if I go back and look at, let's say 30 days, you see 5.7 with an average of 100. And if I do a 90 days, or a 90-day average, then you see 137 with a glucose management indicator of 6.6. Let's go ahead and take a look at the actual graphs that we've had over the last several days. And so here we are, a little over 53 hours. And so right now, 81. And you see for most of the day, actually, let me switch over to this one, maybe a little bit bigger. So for most of the day, I've been kind of hanging out in the 60s and 70s. Earlier this morning, we popped up a little bit up to 100, and that right there is probably toothpaste, by the way, right? So you'll see that there, up a little bit, and then down, 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 down. If I go back 24 hours from here, that would put us at, so this was 48 hours of fasting. Sorry, no, 53 hours of fasting. Here is 33 hours of fasting. Right, you see we are still in the 70s and 80s. And then go back 12 hours earlier than that. That would be a 9-hour mark because we started fasting right about here. Right, so that's why we are like 53 hours now. So started right about there. So we were at 100. And as you know, I try to do a 1 meal a day when I'm not fasting. So here, let me use my pen. So this is my 1 meal for this day. And you'll see what the numbers were earlier in that day. 100s, 121. And so I ate this meal and the blood sugar went up right there to about 160s. And it came back down and spiked up again. So right here into that next morning, 150s. And then from then on, it started going down, 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 down. And let's get rid of this one. So I started fasting right here. Right? So started fasting as that blood sugar was going down. And so what you're seeing is just the continuation of that over the last several days. That is the power of fasting. That is the power of improved metabolism. That's the power of what we're doing. And so that's one marker of the insulin sensitivity, as I've told someone in the office today, that sometimes it is possible after fasting to eat something that you could not eat before without having a big spike in blood sugar. And because you've been fasting, because the body's healing, you can eat that same thing after a fast and the blood sugar doesn't go as high. Now, that's not to say that you can now go and just gorge on that thing, but it just shows you the power of fasting. And if we're able to heal the body, if we're able to get that body doing better, then we see those benefits downstream. And then, of course, as we talked about weight, you'll see there my weight up to 260, and that was when? That was a couple of years ago. And then down now to 185. So that is a big change. And that is the power of what we're doing, the power of limitless living, the power of fasting, the power of balanced bites, the power of 100-day walk to consistency, right? So all of those components come together. It's not just one thing. All of those things come together and they form the platform, they form the basis for everything that we're doing. So once again, we educate, we empower, and we encourage you to take charge of health and life, avoid complications, go to the next level, creating the life we always wanted, right? We educate, we empower, we encourage. We educate with the shows, we educate with the blog, we educate with the podcast. The things that we're doing right now, we're educating. We empower with the tools, the walking, the fasting, the balanced bites, all of those things that we've learned and all those things that we continue to apply as we're moving through this space. The limitless living inventory, as we're walking through the domains of health, and even now in this space, talking about how do we clean our internal environment, not just the external. Those are tools. And then, of course, this amazing community that you are part of, that you are continuing to build, that you are helping to grow, because every time you put something in the chat, every time you interact, every time you share your story, you are helping encourage everyone else that is in this space. Because your journey, I'm going to say it again and again, and you're going to get tired of me saying it, your journey, as imperfect as it is, your journey as rocky as it is, your journey as slow as it is, that you don't think it amounts to anything, is exactly what somebody else needs for their question. Yep. Because they get to see you in your space. They get to see you in real time. That's why I love this space, because we get to talk, we get to interact, we get to look at real time information. Right? So when I go to the store, and I think I did show you guys that video, right? Like when I go to the store and I'm walking down the chocolate aisle because something up here has triggered me. When you see the spike in my blood sugar, right? I think we showed that last week when I went to the store and had no intentions of buying those chips. And they were standing right there, right? You know, they do it right there next to just when you're checking out. And we saw that spike in blood sugar. So it is a work in progress. But every time you show up, every time you make a decision for yourself, every time that you work on a part of your internal environment, you're saying that I am taking charge. I'm doing what I need to do to be successful. I am important. And you're giving your inner coach, so we talked about the inner critic, you're giving your inner coach the ability to support you, to say, give you a rah, rah, rah. Because it'll say to you, oh no, when the inner critic says, oh, you can't do anything, the coach will say, no. You remember last week, we fasted for 6 hours. We fasted for 12 hours. Our weight went down. Our blood sugars are better. Every time you show up, that's what you're doing. And when you do show up, tell your story. Be part of the encouragement, be part of the richness that comes from being in the community. Tell somebody else, hey, We don't have to keep having these metabolic problems. We don't have to keep putting on weight. We don't have to stay on medication. Oh, look at that one. Share that with somebody. Say, hey, come, let's go watch this show. Or bring them with you. Right? Come watch it together. As a matter of fact, the playlists are on the channel. Get with your family, get with your friends and say, look, we're going to walk through this series together. And walk through the series and begin implementing those. Because the theory that we have only comes to life when you infuse it with your behavior and with your action. I'm always excited when I am in this space with you. Later tomorrow, we'll be back with our fast as we get into our 72-hour fast. That will probably be a little earlier in the day, but we'll recast it later. For those of you who may miss it, you can go back and you can watch it. We'll be back on Saturday night for Video from the Vault. Sunday morning, This Week in Review at 6 a.m. Central. And then on Monday, we'll be right back here as we continue our path down the limitless living journey for Dwain Woode MD Live. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out with us. I'll talk with the community members after the show here. We'll put that link in just a minute. If you've not joined our community yet, you got to do it. You got to do it. We are having a vibrant community that's growing, and as we support each other through this journey. Thank you for being here. This is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Woode with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted. And Limitless Living says, I'm not allowing anything from outside or anything from inside to prevent me from doing what I need to do. I am presenting my best self, my best health, and my best plans for my life. Good night, everybody. We'll see you at the next episode. Bye-bye.